Hello, this is Crystal Racing here with the race review for the 2020 70th anniversary Grand Prix. What a terrible name for a Grand Prix, by the way. But of course, they decided it was better to then calling it the Northamptonshire Grand Prix. So let's get on with the race review. And that's right, folks. Max Verstappen has become the first non-Mercedes driver to win a race this season. Thank goodness. I was seriously fearing the worst. Honestly, after the first four races, I thought, my goodness me, no one can catch those Mercedes. But, thanks to the softer compounds this weekend, Red Bull's Maxi Boy has done it. Oh man, if only he did not retire in Austria, it would probably be only about 3 points in between Max and Lewis Hamilton right now. The championship would be so tasty. But as it is, Max Verstappen is 30 points behind Lewis Hamilton. He's going to have to need Lewis Hamilton to run into quite a bit of bad luck if he really wants to get into contention. And frankly, well, to be honest, I think he needs at least two really bad races for Hamilton for Max to really get into this championship because today he has really excelled, looking after the softer compound tyres, making the two-stop strategy work with a pair of hard, starting off on the hard tyres, then the mediums, and then the back on the hards again. Fantastic drive, 10 out of 10. Just, he even had time on the final lap to say, stay hydrated and sanitize your hands. That level of capacity is just ridiculous. Second place, of course, is Lewis Hamilton, matching Michael Schumacher's record of 155 podiums. The Mercedes just couldn't make their tyres last. Hamilton had the same strategy as Bottas, start on the mediums and then go on a pair of hard tyres afterwards. And, Hamilton did what he could. It's 8 out of 10 for me for Lewis Hamilton's performance. It wasn't great, but it wasn't terrible. Third place, though, was his teammate Valtteri Bottas. And I know I'm going to be harsh when I say this, but I think that was a 6 out of 10. He got pole position on Saturday. But, he got overtaken by Hamilton. I mean, despite the fact that he had been quicker, during, the second stint of the race, he just, Hamilton, he got overtaken on track with about 4 laps to go. That's really disappointing, Bottas, and that now leaves Bottas 34 points behind. I know what happened last week was not his fault, but man, Bottas is seriously not quick in that Mercedes at all. I don't know what I don't want to say anymore. Fourth place was Charles Leclerc, who made the one-stop strategy work, starting on the mediums and then going on the hards for a long time, and he was delighted on the radio, which just about sums up how awful Ferrari are right now, finishing 30 seconds behind Max Verstappen. Yes, he destroyed Sebastian Vettel, but should a Ferrari driver be celebrating P4? I don't think so, but as it is, though, I'm going to give Charles Leclerc 9 out of 10, but, he needs to be I know he's only 22, but it just seems a bit sad, really, thinking about it. Next up, in 5th place, was Alex Albon. Once again, yet another dreadful qualifying performance. Got out-qualified by Pierre Gasly's AlphaTauri for a second week in a row. Oh, dearie me. Started on the mediums, had pitted on lap 6, and then managed to make his 2 stints on hards work fantastically well, but he finished 39 seconds behind Max Verstappen. Wow. I mean, yes, I know his overtaking and racecraft is fairly good, but his general pace is just not quick enough. It's just not fast enough. I mean, Red Bull at this point must be wondering whether they need a better driver. I mean, yes, I know they've spent an awful lot on their academy, but, considering Hulkenberg has come back and has been fairly good in his comeback with Racing Point, I think he could be an option. But, of course, I would probably prefer it to be Kimi Räikkönen, but that's the Kimi fan in me. 6th place was Lance Stroll. What have I given him? I've given him 7 out of 10, along with Alex Albon, 7 out of 10. Qualified 6th, did a solid race, and finished 6th. Although, albeit thanks to the fact that his teammate had to pit late. 7th place is, of course, Super Sub Nico Hulkenberg. Had to pit late for those soft tyres due to some real soft vibrations in the last 10 laps. Of course, and he did say that if he hadn't pitted, he would have not made it to finish. So, yeah, really a bit unfortunate with tyre management there. But, for me, qualifying 3rd on only his 2nd weekend back is a fantastic performance, and he was running strong for a lot of the race. He was running up in 4th and then 5th place. 8 out of 10 for me for Hulkenberg. Well done, mate. You really have got back in the groove of things, and you did outpace your teammate for most of that weekend. 8th place, Esteban Ocon. 9 out of 10. Got the bit of Ricardo. Leaped ahead of Ricardo very early on. Made the one-stop work brilliantly. Great tyre conservation. It's going to be 9 out of 10. It's best driver of the season so far. 9th was Lando Norris, 8 out of 10. McLaren's pace has been really poor recently. Yeah, I mean, if I was Daniel Ricciardo, I can't exactly be that pleased about going to McLaren, because that McLaren car just looks a bit average right now. They haven't really kicked on from their progress since last season. But it's 8 out of 10 for me for Lando Norris. Not much to say. 10th place, Danny Kvyat managed to beat his teammate Pierre Gasly, despite Gasly once again destroying him in qualifying. But in the race, Kvyat managed to drive very well. 8 out of 10. I didn't see much of Kvyat, but he drove pretty as well as he could. Got over what happened last weekend when he crashed out, when he lost his left rear due to tyre puncture of some sort or suspension failure. But Danny redeemed himself this today. 11th place, Pierre Gasly, a fantastic qualifying performance. 7th place in Q3, beating both Ferraris and Albon's Red Bull. Mighty pacing qualifying once again from the gas man, but unfortunately he couldn't make the tyres last and he fell behind his teammate. Could improve a bit of his racing and a bit of his racecraft, but much better compared to last season. 12th place is Sebastian Vettel, 3 out of 10. Yes, I know there's a fair bit of... I know people said that a lot of Vettel fans are saying his car's being sabotaged. He just, he's driving as well as he can, but for some reason the car just doesn't... His car doesn't seem to have any speed, which is really strange. I mean, once again, the politics of Ferrari reared their ugly heads, but I can only give Vettel 3 out of 10 because to spin at the start with no one touching you is just ridiculous, man. It doesn't matter how much you're struggling. Please do not spin the car at the first corner. And, you know what? He doesn't... I mean, at this point, I'm not even sure he's going to see out the season. I would put very solid money on either one of the Alfa Romeo drivers replacing him, either Kimi Räikkönen or Giovinazzi, who of course Antonio Giovinazzi is Ferrari's reserve driver, I believe. Don't know whether that's true or not. Don't know whether he still has a contract with them or not. Please correct me if I'm wrong there, but just another sad, awful weekend for Sebastian Vettel, who really, I mean, you can... I'm not even sure he's going to be at Ferrari come Belgium, to be honest. He'll do next weekend because, of course, the next race is in Spain in about 6 days' time. But if it goes wrong again, I think Spain could be his final Ferrari race. I'm not exaggerating there because this looks like a lost cause. I mean, yes, the SF1000 is a piece of turd, but, if Leclerc can get 4th place in it, finishing 8th or 9th has got to be the minimum. And the fact of the matter is, if Vettel continues driving like this, he's going to have a far worse season than what Kimi Räikkönen had back in 2014. And that is not a joke. 13th place was Carlos Sainz, 5 out of 10. What on earth happens again? I don't know what's going on. Ever since Carlos Sainz has signed that Ferrari contract, he's not been that good at all. I don't know. And, I mean, question marks once again have to be aimed at Ferrari. Why are they signing a driver who is now suddenly getting beaten by a fairly decent, but not a particularly great youngster in Lando Norris? I'm a bit... Real question marks there. I can't remember what happened to Sainz in particular. I don't think he had a spin like Vettel or Ricciardo, but... I mean, just really poor pace from the Spaniard today. 14th place was Daniel Ricciardo. What on earth happened to you, mate? Just an awful performance. I know you spun, but that spin completely wrecked your race, dropped you your back. That's 4 out of 10. Not acceptable when your teammate, who you've been dominating all year in Esteban Ocon, has got 8th place. You know, and the fact you got beat by both AlphaTauris and Sebastian Vettel, who has no form right now. That's 4 out of 10 for you. Absolutely rubbish. Get out of here, Daniel Ricciardo. 15th place, Kimi Raikkonen, 6 out of 10. The best out of the bottom 3 team runners. Made the one-stop work pretty well. Yes, although unfortunately towards the end his team was having severe vibrations with his tyres, meaning that he fell behind Ricciardo. Yes, I know he qualified last like he did in Hungary, but he's doing the best he can. But I have to say, though, if he does retire at the end of the season, I'm not going to be that upset about it, because I mean, this is just a waste of time now for Kimi. What is he proving in general? Not much. 16th place, Roman Grosjean. Fantastic qualifying yesterday. Got qualified P13, but his race pace was average as usual. 5 out of 10, and he finished behind Kimi, so that's not particularly great, if I'm going to be honest, considering how far of a slower car. 17th place, Antonio Giovinazzi. I can't even remember what he did, to be honest, because although, to be fair, though, his final stint was on the medium tyres. You know, Alpha have done a bit better this week with strategy, something that's been plaguing them for the past 18 months. But, whilst there is improvement, the tyre wear on the Alpha is fairly worrying, to say the least. And then, of course, we get to the bottom 2 drivers. George Russell, 5 out of 10. But, yes, I know he got into Q2 again, but, George Russell is now a bang-on guarantee to get into Q2, because that lad is quick on one-lap runs. But in the race, his race pace was pretty terrible, and he was running last for most of it until, of course, his teammate had to pit late on in the race. 19th place, Nicholas Latifi. Yes, I know the Canadian finished last, but I'm going to give him 7 out of 10. Whilst George Russell pointed a 5 out of 10, Latifi actually had a very good race today, and he was running up ahead of Grosjean towards the end before he had to make a third pit stop. I mean, why on earth did both Williams drivers have to make 3 pit stops? I don't know, but, whilst the Williams has got much better qualifying speed compared to last year, the race pace of Williams has been utterly horrendous as usual, pretty much almost as bad as last year's. And, of course, we get to the only retiree of the race, Kevin Magnussen. I think he had an incident where he hit Latifi early on, once again, getting into trouble. Again, Kevin Magnussen, come on, man, get your act sorted out, because if you carry on like this, you could be out of Formula 1 at the end of this year, along with Roman Grosjean. 4 out of 10, and then, of course, Magnussen had to make at least 2 pit stops, but, I think he was running towards the back for the most of this race and showing absolutely no speed whatsoever. 4 out of 10. I mean, if it wasn't for Sebastian Vettel's awful performance, for me, Sebastian Vettel's going to be rejected today, whilst, of course, driver of the day can only be Max Verstappen, making those tyres last and beating both Mercedes in the season when Mercedes have such an OP car. My God, I've got to tip my hat off to Max. He is an absolute driving driving machine on steroids. That kid is just amazing. So if you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe to Crystal Racing. I'll see you again.